And hello everyone, welcome back to a new video. Alright, so let's continue with some Godot. So today we'll be talking about nodes. So I'm going to create a new file or project for that. So I'm just going to browse and I will go to, let's go here and just go 2 pages up, nodes, and I'll just select this folder. And I'll just remove that 2 dot. And I'm going to select OpenGL ES 3.0 because, to be honest, you should actually be using this. This one should be if you don't need those extra features and you want this to work on literally almost all machines. Then yeah, choose this one. But actually, these days you can just choose this. So I'm going to choose that and I'm going to say create and edit. Alright, so we can go back to 2D because we're not going to be working with 3D at the moment because that's a little bit difficult. So, let's talk about nodes. Now, while we talk about it, I'm going to keep this image up right here. And I'll be explaining this image as well. So I'm going to quote from the website right now because they have an amazing way of actually explaining this. So I'm starting the quote. Imagine for a second that you are not a game developer anymore. Instead, you're a chef. Change your hipster outfit for a tog and a double-breasted jacket. Now, instead of making games, you create new, delicious recipes for your guests. So how does a chef create a recipe? Recipes are divided into 2 sections. The first is the ingredients and the second is the instructions on how to prepare it. This way, anyone can follow the recipe and savor the magnificent creation. Making games in Godot feels pretty much the same way. Using the engine feels like being in a kitchen. In this kitchen, nodes, which we're talking about today, are like a refrigerator full of fresh ingredients with which to cook. There are many types of nodes. Some show images, others play sound, other nodes display 3D models, and so on. So basically, imagine this is a refrigerator. Now, in the refrigerator, you notice things that you can pull out at the bottom. If you have a double, or if you have a big refrigerator, you can pull things out at the bottom. Imagine this is this, and inside of that, then you have a Tupperware. You have Tupperware where you can put things in as well. So all of these are like little containers. They contain information on things. Now to take note is that if this top node right here gets modified, it will affect all of the bottom nodes. Because this is the parent. But if this node right here gets modified, it will not affect these nodes right here, but it will affect these nodes because they're connected. Now the best way to actually figure this out is, I'm going to close that, to figure this out is actually to create your own nodes. So let's first go through what nodes actually hold inside of them. We'll actually pull this up again. So a node has a name. So you can call, if you're making a game and you have a player, then your player would be a node. It will be a container. It will be an object. And you will call it player. In this case, you can actually call this one parent. And this child 1 and child 2. And grandchild 1, grandchild 2, grandchild 3, or whatnot. It has editable properties, which means you can edit it. Let's say it's text. You're putting a label on the screen, so you want to change the text, you can edit the text to say what you want it to say. It can receive a callback to process every frame, which means with each frame that goes, let's say 60 frames a second, which with each frame that goes past, you will be able to actually receive some information and you'll be able to execute something. It can be extended, so it can have more functions in its functionality and stuff. And it can have a child of its own. So as you can see, these have child and a parent and itself, So yeah. And then it basically becomes a tree form. So let's actually create our first node. So let's close this. And here in scene, we're going to select other node. So here, scene right here. And you have 2D scene, 3D scene, user interface, and then other node. We're going to select other node. And then we're going to search for label, because we want to put some text on the screen. So label, and we can just say create. Okay, and now we have a label. Now, at first, it won't really look like much. In fact, you don't really know what's going on. But anyways, this is your tree right here. This is the top of the tree. So if we were to go right here, this would be that label right now. This node right here. So yeah, that's the basic. So let's rename this label. Let's rename it to Hello World. As an example, Hello World. I'm going to say LBL. You can call it whatever you want. I'm going to call it LBL Hello. Hello, here's future me that I just made that video so long ago, and I feel I should re-explain that. The reason I called it LBL Hello was because that's a good naming convention in my head. Because it's a label, I give it the name LBL, and then what that label actually does, or what it should do. In this case, say hello, so I just called it hello. So LBL to signify that it's a label, so it's easy to know what is what by giving it their things at the beginning. So if you want a button, it would be BTN. If you want a label, it would be LBL, and then just what they do or their name. And that's kind of what I did there. And try to go no spaces just to keep things easy. Okay, and then right here in the Object Inspector, here is where you can edit the content, where you can edit what's happening inside of here. Like I told you before, it has editable properties, and these are the properties you can edit. You can go through a bunch of these and you can edit it as you want. So we're going to say it has to say hello world. And basically, it's going to then display this hello world on the screen. So we can also say it should be all uppercase. So then, as you can see here, it converts it to uppercase. Now to do what I just did, zoom in and out, that is mouse roll, the mouse wheel. And to move around, you can use the right mouse button. Left mouse button will select things. Anyways, so then you can save it to uppercase, and you can auto wrap, clip text. You can do a bunch of things here. We'll get to these things later on, but right now that's not important. So right now we have our hello world. And let's save this. So Ctrl S to save. And we can just keep it as this, LBL hello. In fact, you didn't even need to rename this if you didn't want to. I just renamed it because I feel I want to. And right here, this is to play a specific scene, like the one we just edited. So if we click that, then this should pop up. As you can see, there's our hello world. And if you want to run the entire program, you can select that, but then you will have to select the program that will always run, which we will get to later on. But for right now, we can just stick with playing the scene. So this res folder right here, this is where all the resources of this project will be going into. So inside here, there will be scripts, there will be images, there will be audio files, there will be basically everything. So if you want to edit here, you can actually go here and say open folder or open in file manager, and it will take you right here. And this is basically that folder, the res. The res is just this normal folder. So in here, you'll put your images and everything you need, and this is just the basics that you get. That's just the default stuff you get along with it. And you can see this as its root directory. So if I were to open up my terminal right here to just show you the root directory, this is where everything starts. So my computer's files, it starts at the root directory. So if I go to root, and I list everything here, this is my computer. Everything on my computer is here. Everything. So if I go to CD, and I go maybe, let's see, home, Netsu, and then once I'm in here, I can actually go to my documents. But I couldn't get here if I wasn't at root. And this right here is root. So that's basically it. Everything in your project, everything your operating and whatnot goes into root. Your project root is not your operating system root. It is just a root for your project. This root is basically like the operating system root for the project. It's like a virtual root, you can say. So this is the root for your project. like the tree's roots, you know. Now, you can actually modify this project a bit more. And let's actually do that. So let's go to project and project settings. In here, you can change a bunch of really nice things. So let's go to application, go to run, and then we find main scene right here. And now we can set this main scene as this LBL hello. And now, if we try and run this, so we close, we can either press F5, or we can click this button right here. So if we run this, now it will run this scene as the main scene for the game. So this is literally the game now. And then first you have your normal scene, just this scene. But for right now, we can either use this or this. It doesn't really matter. Hello again, Future Steve is back. So to re-explain that, basically if you play a specific scene, this can be a scene in a game such as, let's say you have a story-based game, then if you want to play a specific part of the story, then you can use the scene to play. Then it will play only that specific scene you want to see. But however, if you wanted to play the entire game, then you can press the run button and that will start from the beginning and run you through the entire game until the end. So yeah, that's the kind of the difference between them. You can choose by yourself which one you'd rather use. But usually you want to use the scene one, so you don't have to play the entire game just to get to that specific scene you want to test out. So what did we just do? We basically just went project settings, and right here we just literally selected this TSCN file. Now when we try to run it before, it asked us if we want to do that. We just said no. So just another note from my side, for those of you with smaller screens that might struggle with the displaying, this window display right here under display window, you can actually change the size of the window. You can change if it should be full screen. The test width is if you run it in debug mode, which if you click here, then this is the width that will be displayed. And this is basically the release mode. We'll get deeper into this as time goes on, but for right now, it's fine without going through this. But just note this is here if it does struggle to fit inside of your screen. So yeah, that's all I want to teach you guys. I just want to teach you what a node is. So basically, actually, we can even add a child node. And let's say this is another label. And as you can see, it's basically a tree now. This child node is basically part of this node now. It's the child node. So if I delete this node right here, this child node will also be deleted. And I call this child node. Let's actually rename this to label or parent node. So let's try and run this. Okay, it doesn't seem to give any problems. So yeah, that is basically nodes and a few extra things into it. I hope you all enjoyed and I hope you understood most of this. If you don't understand it just yet, don't worry, we'll get deeper into this and we'll cover it more over time. For right now, just know that these exist and we will be using them in the future. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed and see you all in the next video.